Hi friends, my name is Becca and welcome to my channel. If this is your first time here, I am so glad that you stopped by. We focus on all things middle grade literature, specifically the first chapters of your favorite middle grade novels. Today we are going to be reading Book 2 of The Genius Files, Never Say Genius by Dan Gutman. This is a book that is part of a series. I want to say there's more than 5, but I don't know exactly how many books are in this series, but this is Book 2. If you want to hear Book 1, you can find the link in the description. All right, let's dive on in by starting with the front inside cover, which will give us a little bit of an idea what this novel is all about. Today is Coke and Pepsi McDonald's 13th birthday. Someone's out to make sure they never make it to 13 and a half. Racing across America, the twins will nearly be boiled alive in a huge basket of French fries, frozen to death by soft serve ice cream, stampeded in a wild stadium riot, kidnapped from a high-speed roller coaster, and worst of all, their parents think they're totally joking. Will they survive? Will they defeat Archie Clone? Will they be dropped out of a helicopter onto the tip of the Washington Monument? Will they ever say genius? All right, that is the excerpt of this novel. And as you can see, Coke and Pepsi are about to have quite the adventure. And we are going to start with chapter 1, which is titled, What the Heck Happened? There were 8 items on Coke McDonald's to-do list on June 25th, but having his body lowered into a vat of boiling oil was not one of them. Sing happy birthday to Pep was on the list. Do a dump was on the list. Wash my clothes was on the list. Clean up my stuff was on the list. But nothing about being lowered into a vat of boiling oil. And yet, oddly enough, having his body lowered into a vat of boiling oil, along with his sister Pepsi, was the one thing that Coke McDonald was actually going to do on June 25th. Hold on for just a minute here. Before I tell you how Coke and Pep were lowered into a vat of boiling oil, you really need to read a book called The Genius Files, Mission Unstoppable. The first book. Because if you didn't read that book, this one is going to make no sense at all. It would be pointless. So get a copy of that book and read it, then come back and start this one again. Go ahead, I'll wait. Okay, did you read it? Liar. What do you want me to do, read it to you? You lazy bum. If you don't want to read The Genius Files Mission Unstoppable, get the audiobook. If you're really lazy, you could just Google it and read the summary online. What, do I have to tuck you into bed at night too? Sheesh, I'm busy. What's the matter with you kids today? Fine. Don't read The Genius Files Mission Unstoppable. See if I care. Basically, this is what happened. Deep breath. Coke and Pep, they're twins, were walking home from school in California when a mysterious guy wearing a bowler hat started chasing them in a golf cart. Some lady wearing all red named Maya appeared out of nowhere and threw an exploding frisbee grenade to take out the bowler dude. But Coke and Pep had to jump off a cliff after Maya got hit in the neck by a tranquilizer dart shot by another mysterious bowler dude, the first guy's brother, riding a golf cart. Luckily, Maya had given the twins wingsuits to wear so they could jump off the cliff, fly through the air, and land safely on the beach. Deep breath. Following me so far? Good. You see, what Coke and Pep didn't realize was that they had been recruited to be part of a secret government program run by the eccentric Dr. Herman Warsaw. He was a genius inventor who had decided that the grown-ups of the world were hopeless. The only way to solve our problems would be to use the skills of the smartest kids in America. He called the program, wait for it, The Genius Files. As a reward for being part of this dangerous program, the kids were promised $1 million when they turned 21. Unfortunately, it didn't look like Coke and Pep would ever reach that birthday because someone was trying very hard to kill them. The next day at school, they were locked in the detention room and almost burned alive when the school was set on fire. The fire was set by their germ-phobic health teacher, Mrs. Higgins, who turned out to be an evil psychopath. Fortunately, the twins were rescued by the obese, deaf-mute janitor Bones, who turned out to be skinny and quite talkative after he removed his fat suit. Bones was part of the Genius Files team, as was Maya. To track the McDonald twins' every move, he used a staple gun to implant tiny GPS devices, designed by Dr. Warsaw, into their skulls. Deep breath. Still with me? Great. The next day, the twins started on a cross-country summer RV trip with their clueless parents, who must never learn about the Genius Files program. Along the way to their Aunt Judy's wedding in Washington, D.C., Coke and Pep watched a building blow up moments after they left it, were pushed into a ditch at the top of a singing sand dune in Nevada and left there to die, witnessed their dad go through his midlife crisis by seeing how fast he could drive the RV on the Boneville Salt Flats in Utah, visited a lot of oddball tourist destinations, a museum devoted to Pez dispensers, the National Yo-Yo Museum, the largest ball of twine in the world, and the second largest ball of twine in the world, because their mom runs a popular website called Amazing But True. Were thrown into a giant vat of Spam in Minnesota, dropped 5 days' worth of human waste on the head of Mrs. Higgins, their germ-phobic psychopath health teacher, remember? Were given a series of increasingly difficult secret messages which they had to decipher, had a climactic confrontation with the person who had been trying to kill them. In the end, guess who was trying to kill Coke and Pep the whole time? It was Dr. Warsaw, the inventor of the Genius Files. Ha! Who'da thunk it? Whew. Let's see you try to sum up a 304-page book in just 3 breaths. The story really wasn't nearly as complicated as it sounds. If you read the Genius Files Mission Unstoppable, it just seems that way when you try to compress a lot of stuff into a few paragraphs. Anyway, that's basically what happened in the first book. Now you don't have to read it yourself. You could even write a book report on it if you wanted to. Our new story begins in Spring Green, Wisconsin, where Mission Unstoppable left off. If you'd like to follow the McDonalds on their trip east to Washington, it's easy. Get on the internet and go to Google Maps, MapQuest, Rand McNally, or whatever navigation website you like best. Go ahead, I'll wait. Okay, now type in Spring Green, Wisconsin and search and click Search Maps. Click the little plus or minus sign on the screen to zoom out until you get a sense of where the twins are. See it? That's the starting point. Now that we've got all that preliminary nonsense out of the way, let's get to the cool part, where Coke and Pep get lowered into a vat of boiling oil. And that is the end of the first chapter of the Genius Files Never Say Genius. I really like these books because I think that the way they're written is really different and creative, the way that the author of the book is kind of speaking to us as the reader. That being said, if you enjoyed this first chapter Friday Read Aloud, please consider liking and subscribing so you can be notified every time we have a new Read Aloud available for you. Deep breath. All right, everyone, until next time, happy reading.